What you say to the police can and will be used against you. And here's the twist. It doesn't matter if you're guilty, innocent, or fresh out of Sunday school. The wrong words can land you in handcuffs. Welcome to Legal Canon, where we break down complex legal issues in plain English. I'm not your lawyer, but I'm here to help you understand how the law really works. If you find this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss a legal deep dive. Every single day, people talk themselves into trouble. They think being honest will clear things up, but in reality, they're handing the state the very evidence it needs. We're all taught the same myth. If you've done nothing wrong, you've got nothing to hide. Teachers say it, parents say it, politicians repeat it, but here's the truth. The justice system doesn't care about what you feel. It cares about what it can prove. And once words leave your mouth, they become evidence against you. Think about it. You've had friends mishear you, misquote you, or twist your words, right? Now imagine the same misunderstanding, except it's in a police report. Later, 12 jurors may read your words, skipping the tone, context, and the intent behind what you said. And that's the danger. Talking to the police when you don't have to isn't about guilt or innocence. It's about protecting yourself from creating evidence you can never get back. The big myth is this: if I were to tell my story, the officer will understand. People picture it like a movie scene. They sit down, explain the situation, and the officer nods and says, "You're right, sorry to bother you." That's fantasy. Officers don't decide guilt or innocence on the roadside. Their role is to document, gather evidence, write reports. And here's where psychology works against you. Innocent people are often the most likely to talk because silence feels suspicious. We're trained from childhood to explain ourselves to teachers, to parents, to bosses. You want to look cooperative. You want to smooth things over on the awkwardness. So you fill the silence with words. But those words don't travel as innocence, they travel as evidence. And here's the kicker. Even if you're telling the truth, truth doesn't always come out cleanly. Maybe you're nervous and stumble. Maybe you guess at a detail. Maybe you say something out of order. None of that means you're guilty, but later, when someone reads the transcript, it can look inconsistent. And inconsistency reads like dishonesty. And that's how innocent words become damaging. Let's run through the 5 big categories of things you should never say to the cops. Never admit to any part of a crime. I only had 2 beers. I just tapped the car. These sound harmless. They're not. They're admissions that fill in half of the state's case against you. Never guess. I think I was going 60. Maybe I rolled that stop sign. A guess on paper looks like a confession. You thought you were being helpful. Trust me, you weren't. Never volunteer extra information. Filling the silence feels polite, but it's dangerous. Check my trunk. It's empty. Maybe you forgot what's in there. Maybe someone else left something in there. Either way, you've just created probable cause or permission to search your vehicle. Never try to explain intent. I only shoved him because he came at me. I didn't steal it, I just forgot to pay. You think you've justified yourself. What gets recorded is subject admitted to shoving, subject admitted to taking without paying. The intent gets stripped away, and you've just given the cops enough evidence to arrest you. Never confuse politeness with over-talking. Respect matters, but respect doesn't mean narrating your life story. Hand over your license, follow lawful instructions, and then stop talking. Silence can be respectful. Silence is smart. These 5 categories cover most of the ways people talk themselves into trouble with the cops. So why do people still talk? Because silence feels unnatural. Humans hate silence. When there's a pause, we fill it. We explain, we clarify, we keep digging the hole that we're in. Police are trained in this dynamic, and they use rapport. They use casual phrasing. Just help me understand. We just want your side of the story. They don't have to shout or threaten. They just have to keep the conversation going until you say something useful to their case. And here's the important thing. Once it's said, it doesn't stay in that moment. It moves forward. It goes into a report. That report is read by supervisors, by prosecutors, and likely heard by a jury. None of them were there. They don't see your body language. They don't hear your tone. They see words on paper. And words on paper are powerful because they look permanent. They look official. And they look intentional even when they are nervous guesses. That's why silence isn't about being uncooperative. It's about protecting yourself from handing over something that can be taken out of your hands and used against you. Let's build out a few scenarios. The DUI stop. Driver admits, yeah, I had a couple of drinks with dinner. Breath test shows 0.06. Under the limit. Should be fine. But in court, the headline is driver admitted drinking. The jury starts wondering if the machine was wrong. And the prosecutor's halfway down their case. The shoplifting case. Person says, I was in the store, but I didn't take anything. On paper, that places them at the scene of the crime. And one shaky witness, and suddenly their words provided half the puzzle to the government. The fight. I only shoved him because he came at me. Feels like self-defense. On paper, subject admitted shoving, and the context may vanish. The domestic call. Someone says, we were just yelling, nothing physical. What's recorded? Subject admitted yelling. If the neighbors heard screaming, that one word matches the report. The traffic stop. I guess I was speeding. Congratulations, you just confessed. No radar needed. You've done the government's job for them. The workplace crossover. A police interview after an HR complaint. I may have said something off color. That's not protecting yourself. That's a written admission with no way to pull it back later. Every one of these examples has the same theme. In the moment, the words feel like cooperation, but on paper, they become evidence against you. This is why silence matters so much. It's not about guilt or disrespect. It's about understanding the rules of the game. And the game is simple. Anything you say can and will be used against you. That's not a suggestion. That's the ground truth. Think back to our examples. The driver who admitted to a couple of drinks. The shopper who placed themselves at the scene. The guy in the fight who said, I only shoved him. Each person thought that they could talk their way out of the situation, but instead each actually gave away damaging evidence. Keep the efforts of explaining the situation to when you begin to work with your attorney. The broader lesson is this: human beings are wired to explain, but in the legal system, explanations don't smooth things over. They create evidence against you. Silence flips that. When you stay quiet, the only evidence is what actually exists outside of what you say. That's the balance that you want. So, what's the bottom line? Once words are spoken, you don't control them anymore. They belong to the process, and the process will always be able to use them in ways that you did not intend. You don't protect yourself by talking more. You protect yourself by talking less. You don't win points by explaining, you win by staying calm, respectful, and silent. The smartest line you can ever use is, I'm choosing to remain silent, I want my lawyer. That's it. No speeches, no nervous chatter. Because once you start explaining, you've already lost control of the story. So stay silent and keep control. And that can make all the difference. If you remember only one thing from this video, shut up and lawyer up. If you're getting value from this content and want more straight shooting legal insights, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. At Legal Canon, we cut through the legal noise and give you real insights you can actually use. Got questions? Drop them in the comments. We often make future videos based on subscribers' comments and questions. Your idea might just be our next deep dive.